My wife tells me that size doesn't matter. Has she been lying to me? Today we're going to find out. I've got the Voigtlander 50mm F2 APO lens on my Sony A7R III, and it's by all accounts the smallest lens that I've ever owned. But like many men on Tinder, it claims to offer fantastic performance despite its small size. I took this lens out to a few of my favorite trails to give you an idea of what you can expect from it. Despite my serious aversion to getting up early, I got in my Ferrari 458 and got on the road. I got out of my car, put my drone up in the air to get some sweet B-roll, and as luck would have it, as soon as I put it up in the air, the battery started dropping. Critical battery failure, and began to crash. Hiked through the woods for what seemed like hours, although that could just be me being out of shape, and finally found my drone. After that, I began my hike with the Voigtlander 50mm F2. One of my favorite hiking trails near my house is the Chained Rock Trail near Pineville, Kentucky. It's where we chained this huge rock to the side of the mountain that looked like it was hanging there precariously to keep it from falling and crushing the town below. The trail is short, much like my attention span, only a half a mile long, half a mile out, half a mile back, so it's pretty easy to get to the overlook. I was able to capture a few shots on my way down. There are quite a few different compositions that I like, although I found the 50mm focal length to be just a little too tight up here. As I pointed out earlier, I'm shooting with this lens on my Sony A7R III. This lens pairs really nicely with the Sony camera body. It doesn't seem too unwieldy or too heavy. It balances just right, and best of all, the lens doesn't tip the camera over when you set it down. Just as I reached 3rd of May on crack up, just as I started taking some photos at the overlook, a group of exuberant children, shepherded by some unfortunate adult, made their way up the trail. Because there wasn't enough Xanax in Bell County, Kentucky for the both of us, I decided I would wrap it up and move on to my next spot. Anyway, I went back down the mountain, and there's another trail just below it. It's called the Clear Creek Trail, and it starts at the Bible College. And I think that's pretty cool, because what other book has its own college? And there's a creek that runs alongside the Bible College, which I assume is holy water. There used to be an old coal mine somewhere upstream from the Bible College. This is one of those rails to trail situations where they take up the train tracks and you're left with a nice trail. The trail is really wide, like your mom. Because even after 10 years into photography, I'm still a bokeh addict. I took a few of these shots to show you what kind of background you can expect with this lens. Even at f2, it still blows the background out really nicely. Showed you quite a few images already with this lens, and just gonna be honest with you, this is the sharpest lens that I've ever used, and really it's not close. This is a brutally sharp lens, and it is completely sharp from f2 on. It's by f4, even in the corners, in the center, in the corners, wherever you want to look on the frame, it's a flat plane of just brutal sharpness. So that's a great reason why this lens could find its way into your bag. Number one, it's small and light, but also it offers really good sharpness. Landscape photography is one of your primary objectives. This is a great lens for that. My favorite thing about this lens though has to be the size, and I know that's what she said, but let's be honest, the bigger the lens that's in our camera bag, the less likely we're going to be to pull it out and use it. With its small size means we're actually going to stand a chance at using it pretty often, and that means a lot. There are some very, very obvious drawbacks to this lens though. Number one is the fact that it's an all manual lens. Despite the fact that it does have electronic communicators and it does talk with the camera body, the fact that this lens is manual focus and manual aperture means that you're gonna have to do some work with it. It's really gonna slow down the shooting process. Although the Sony bodies make it really easy to manual focus with the focus peaking, it does add a layer of complexity, and you're gonna miss more shots with it. Just gonna be honest. There have been shots before that had I been using an autofocus system, I would have nailed the focus. It's very easy to miss focus when you're having to do it yourself looking through the EVA. At $1,049, it's also a pretty expensive lens for what you get. It is a 50mm f2 lens. There are much broader lenses available for less money, but there are none sharper, and that is the caveat, I would say. This lens will be the sharpest lens in your bag, so what you don't get in a fast aperture, you make up for with sharpness. Something that we didn't touch on is what does APO mean? I thought APO stand for Awesome Pimpin' Optics until I figured out that it was actually apochromatic. Apochromatic meaning that the lens tries to focus all three wavelengths RGB of light onto a single flat plane, which means the lens is really well corrected for optical problems. I did a review on this lens almost a year ago, and it's been in my bag ever since, with no sign of it being dislodged anytime soon. It's honestly a fantastic lens. I'll say it again, strongly encourage you guys to pick up one of these lenses if you're in the market for a sharp 50mm lens. And I'll tell you what else won't disappoint you is one of these other videos. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all later.